Also pretend this isn't shattered still. I'm gonna fix it before the end of today.
I'm learning to like myself for the first time.
I just like am meant to be here, I think.
Hi everyone, happy Sunday. I am kind of freaking out a little bit because I figured out a new way to prop up my phone and I don't know how I feel about it or if it will stay. I truly need to get an overhead tripod, but I refuse to, I don't know, spend the money to get a good one, and I don't trust anything else with my phone, so instead I make crazy setups with what I have. Anyways, this Sunday, I just finished backfilling Saturday, and oh my gosh, as I look at this, I don't know, I'm not super happy with how it's looking, which, by the way, sorry, deep breath. Welcome back. I realize I haven't filmed any other clips. You'll see my face in a second, but I hope you're all doing wonderfully. Welcome back to my destimulation diaries. My little intro is that this is basically a series where I am attempting to simultaneously spend less time on my phone and spend more time less stimulated and also enjoying hobbies that I really love. So that's that. Talking about my journal today. If you're not interested in the journal part, there are other sections to this video, especially where I talk about books for too long. Anyways, I should be more gentle with myself. I also we had to lose the nails. They were all breaking, and then I had several that were short, and that was bothering me, so I lost the nails, but I'm growing them out again eventually. So actually, what I sat down to talk about was not any of that. I wanted to talk about my pen and something that is completely unimportant to this, but just important in general. So last week I actually didn't show you what my journal pages were looking like, so I'm going to do a quick flip through. I still need to backfill Monday. I will do that eventually, but I'm not sure about that. I was very proud of this little collage thing I did the other day. I cut this out of like a brochure and stuff, so that was fun. This is what the pages look like. I'm pretty decently happy with them. This is good. Until we got to today. And of course, this is like I say worst nightmare. It's definitely not my worst nightmare, but my pen started skipping. Don't read this. Or do. I don't know. I already showed it, so it's kind of up to you if you read it. But I was just unnecessarily angry about things. So I had planned to cover it up, but it's too late, and I'm too lazy to blur it. So this is what you're getting. But I will say here, my pen started like skipping, which is the worst, by the way. This is a Uni Jetstream. I've heard mixed things about this because I was really excited to use this pen. I've been using it this whole year in this journal. And for some reason, I think this is the second time, about halfway down, it starts skipping, which is really frustrating, especially when I'm kind of coming back to a hobby that's just generally difficult for me, and I just like was so out of it and upset. And I guess I had kind of been entertaining the idea originally about switching back to this pen, which is thicker. It's a Pilot G2. It's gel, so it smears, but I don't really have a problem with pen smearing just because of the way I write here. And the way I hold my pen, it's like not really a concern because I always put a piece of paper in between. So I was like searching for my piece of paper. I always put a piece of paper in between anyways, just to protect the paper, and also because I read that like if you have the oils of your hands on the paper too much, then it can cause ballpoint pens like this especially to skip. And it's still skipping anyways, even though I'm like effectively using this as a pencil board or like something to cover the page with while I'm writing. So I don't know, I'm feeling like really bummed about the whole situation, I'm not gonna lie, but it's fine. I am going to, I think, see what it's like to use this pen for a whole journal page. I think there are a couple things stopping me. The first one is like continuity purposes. It was a lot to like even start writing in cursive, which was something I had wanted to do just in terms of like speed, and I'm really happy with it, but it took me a while to figure it out because I think continuity wise I want everything to be the same and everything to be perfect. And it's not even that it's not perfect, I just want it to be the same. And so little changes like that are really stressful for me for some reason. So that's that. I hope you can't see my screensaver. So I have this, no, it's fine. It's good. Sorry, I'm like weird in checking this. But I want to try and write today's journal page with this whole pen. I'm a little worried about bleeding. By the way, I just realized October's in like 2 days, and that's a little bit stressful timing wise. But see, now I have no nails. I have to like pull these pages apart with my little nubby fingers, but it's purple, which is exciting. I like purple. Anyways, I need to stop getting off topic. I am going to try and write like this. I just wanted to, I guess, talk through a little bit of about how I'm feeling in my head about it, which is to say, I'm feeling a little freaked, but I have wanted to do this for a while. And so I'm just gonna bite the bullet and do it, because it's kind of the end of the month. It's not that big of a deal, and then if I don't like it, I can always go back to ballpoint pen. I thought about backfilling with this pen, because then there's really no, like that Monday page that I missed, because then there's really no pressure, because whatever, I'm not gonna go back. But I have this thing where I don't want to go back and fill in a way that I wasn't doing when I would have filled this page out, if that makes any sense. I don't know, I think I'm being too serious about all of it, but anyways, that's me and my little journal. Hope you're all doing well. I think I'm gonna record like a little time lapse of me filling this page out, just for vibe's sake. I need to say I hope you're all doing well. I do really hope you're all doing well, but I also finished my book today, but I will talk about that in a later clip. I just want to journal for now, so stay tuned for that. Hello, good morning. I am currently breaking the fourth wall, as if this is not a video, but I'm filming it like a vlog, because I want to say that in like the past 24 hours, I've gotten several comments telling me to stop being so mean to myself. So I wanted to tell you that I do in fact have, wait, now you can't see it, my affirmations written on a little post-it in the bathroom on the mirror. And I think I need to do a better job at saying them to myself. So I'm not going to do it on camera because I am still self-conscious. Also, pretend this isn't shattered still. I'm going to fix it before the end of today. I'm going to say good things to myself. It's going to happen. And I'm going to be nicer to myself on camera, because bad talking myself on the internet is not particularly something I want to do, and I didn't mean to do it. So, good thing I'm saying about myself is that I like my hair today. And also that I am going to be an optimistic person today. It's going to happen. Thanks for also helping me turn this into a self-love journey. I actually really needed that. So thank you if you said that, because everyone was really nice. And I'm glad no one was like, please shut up. That would have made me feel bad about myself. Anyways, I'm gonna get ready. I finished my book yesterday, so get ready. I'm gonna talk about that. And I started another book today, so I'm also gonna talk about that. And I made, see, I got so distracted with not being on my phone that I forgot to film. I made a blueberry matcha this morning, and it was fantastic. I'm going to make another one tomorrow probably, so you can see that. But I'm gonna go get ready and go to school now, so that I'm not late. But I will see you in the next clip. So I may or may not have told a little lie, which is that I still haven't fixed my screen protector, and I really need to do that. But unfortunately that need is not consuming me, and so I'm just going to film like this because it is late at night and I just did want to speak to you just a little bit. So I hope you're all having a good day. I realize I say that multiple times throughout the video, because every time I start the video it's like I'm starting a new thing, but I realize you're probably most likely watching this in one sitting, or oh my gosh, look at that light in the back. This is so odd. Anyways, glass does crazy things. Anyways, if I can find one topic to end on or to sit with, I am literally about to go to sleep, but I wanted to just pop in, say hey. Today I really made an effort to have a positive attitude about most things, and just generally to feel more fulfilled. And I think I've done a really good job of that, at least for me. I think consciously being kind to myself is something that's difficult, and I didn't really aim to make that the purpose or the meaning behind this series, but I guess that's kind of what I'm learning a little bit, just because I think through the process of destimulation and through not facing all of these things, or through not kind of having these distractions all the time, that you're being forced to face yourself a little bit, which I guess can be scary. And I say I guess like I'm not currently staring that concept in the face right now, but I'm honestly not feeling too bad about it right this second. I had kind of a tough moment today. I had a lot of things kind of build up, and not build up, I think just like some tough things had been happening, and it was reminding me that I'm the type of person who puts myself in places where I can get taken advantage of, not in a dangerous way, just emotionally. And that was kind of upsetting for me to accept. But I guess it's that kind of negative self-talk and talking yourself down and not giving myself true value that kind of led me to that. So I don't want to get too deep about it because that's not what I meant the series to be about, but I thought I would mention it just because I think it's something that I've really learned recently. And I realize every time I gesticulate, it looks like you can see it in the wall behind me. Well, I have a little bit of a shadow, but it's not as drastic as it is on camera. But anyways, I feel really good about it, actually. Like, I think everyone says it. It's like, oh, your attitude and your demeanor can really help to influence how your day feels from your own perspective. And I know that to be true, but sometimes it's hard to like take a step back and have a good attitude. So I've made a real effort, and I feel pretty good about it. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was I had mentioned that I finished One Dark Window, and did I finish that yesterday? I feel like today's been really long, but long in a good way. I think, I don't know, honestly. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's the kind of thing where I finished reading it and I was like, okay, I really enjoyed that. And then for the next while, I just kept thinking about it. And it's one of those situations where you read something, you're like, oh, that was good. And you don't expect to be thinking about it. You don't expect it to have that kind of effect on you. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's unique in that it's a fantasy novel written kind of deeper. I don't know, maybe it's just written better. Maybe better is the wrong word, because I think when I say better, I'm talking, I don't know if it's more elevated vocabulary or it's like similar to a lot of classic literature that I read, just like stylistically. I don't think that's necessarily better or worse. Like quality-wise, objectively it might be, but I think especially classic literature like that, just because of the dialect it's written in and I guess the difficulty it is to read it, says something about accessibility to other people. And so I don't want to say something is better or worse because it's more difficult to read or easier to read, but it was the kind of thing that really appealed to me, and so I really enjoyed it. I think it had like an appropriate level of like appropriate ratio of like fantasy to romance, and I enjoyed that. Because again, don't want to put myself down, because every time I say this, someone inevitably will be like, oh, you're like patronizing yourself. But I am just a girl and I love that stuff, and I'm saying I'm just a girl and that in a way that I'm qualifying me enjoying things, which I shouldn't feel the need to do, but I do sometimes. Anyways, I think when I first finished it, I guess when I first started reading it, it was a little slow at the beginning. And I think honestly that was just me coming off a book that I didn't really love that all that much. The two things that really bothered me. The first one was I didn't particularly love the magic system. And that's just a personal preference. It's basically based on, without giving too many spoilers, it's based on cards effectively. So it's like regular human beings have these cards that they can use to, I don't know, do magic. But it really grew on me. Like, I think it provides a lot of like insights into human behavior, not to like go all psychological on you, but I thought it was really interesting. Like, in terms of like, it's the kind of thing where you can sit and just enjoy it, or you can sit and analyze it.
And I really like the concept that you can do both, because I feel like in my head I usually classify something as one or the other, and things that fall squarely in the middle to me are effectively like Pride and Prejudice, like my favorite book, and that's about it. So I guess maybe I would add this one to the list. I'm sure there are plenty more, but in my head there aren't. So if you have any recommendations, let me know, because I loved it. Oh, the one other thing that bothered me was the fact that at the beginning of the chapter and throughout the chapter, there would be like these little poems or riddles, and they rhyme because they're poems. There's a bug crawling inside my lamp, and I don't want to smush it, but oh, it disappeared. Great, amazing. Okay, wonderful. I do think that, like, when I first read the whole riddle thing, I understand that conceptually it makes sense for the story. I just thought they were like, the way they were rhymey and like low-key not well written. It would just like really threw me off. I mean, I think part of it is like effectively the townspeople were supposed to have written them, or they were supposed to be like legends or the words of the thing, not to give any spoilers, but I think the writing itself of the book was so good that it really threw me off when something was subpar. They weren't necessarily bad, it's just like when you read a poem and it rhymes, you're like, this is goofball sometimes. And I just mean goofball like in accordance with the rest of the story. I don't know, but I still really loved it, and I still thought about it so much, so I need to go back and like rethink my review. Not that any amount of stars I gave it on Goodreads or Storygraph or any other reading thing, I don't use any other reading website, but not that it matters at all to how I really felt about it. But I kind of like that whole cataloging concept, which, by the way, if you're still watching this, hey, thanks for being here. But also I was gonna say, I have been keeping a tracker of the media that I'm consuming that's not like short form media. So like any video essays I watch, any articles I read, which I don't know if there'll be any this week because I just don't have access to that kind of thing, but books I read, music I'm listening to, I all like to keep down there because those are things that I really enjoy. And I think those are the forms of stimulation that I choose to partake in, and so I want to share them with you. So those are all in the description, and feel free to check them out. I love to give little music recommendations. I love indie music. I love folk music. Unfortunately, my music taste is pretty broad. I like things that are pretty broad, but I listen to kind of a similar genre, so I don't need to explain myself. Actually, I really need to work on not feeling the need to explain myself. I'm going to stop looking at myself in this camera because the lighting is making me feel a little bit insecure, and I'm trying to keep a positive attitude. So I'm going to continue reading my book. I started Wuthering Heights. I'm about 3 pages in. I'm happy to talk about it more, and I'm sure I will be talking about it plenty more in the rest of this video, but just wanted to pop in and say hey, and I will see you in the next clip. Also, good night. Or good morning. Good night to me. Good day to you. My eyes are so red in this light. Look at how bad that is.
finally got around to replacing my screen protector, which is wonderful. I know it's been a few days since I came and said anything, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what I've been doing. And also smile a little bit at the camera, because I forget to do that a lot. I am doing just generally well today, so that's good. But I think the beginning of this week started out really productive and really positive, and I was really happy with where that was going. And I don't know, just generally pretty decent. Then on Wednesday, my class, so I have an in-person class that I attend, and it was switched to online. There's like a bug going around, so people are getting sick, and that kind of threw off my week a little bit. So because I didn't get up and, I mean, I got up and got ready, but I just wasn't there present in class because it was on Zoom. And so I just am trying to work on not letting that affect me as much. I think schedule things are a big thing for me, and this doesn't really have anything to do with destimulation, but because this week I wanted to focus on being more positive and talking about myself a little bit, I will mention that I think have trouble with getting thrown off of my schedule, and if I don't get up and do those habits every single day, there's an air show going on today. Hi, airplane. Anyways, I do find that I have some trouble keeping up with those things when there are things that interrupt my schedule, and I'm working on it. We are working on it, definitely. But then I will say, I was just feeling generally off, and then I made the amazing split-second decision to start reading Iron Flame, which is the second book in the Fourth Wing series, which has notoriously, and I say notoriously as if it happened more than once, or twice, I guess, been like, has had an addictive quality to me personally. So that's wonderful, but I did end up reading it, and I basically sat and read this book for 36 hours straight. I did things, like I got up and I proceeded with my routines, and I took a shower and I ate, which was good. I cannot say that I have always done that in the past. So I don't know, I think now I'm like confident enough in my hobbies that I think I can like keep up with those things, which is really nice. And I want to make a video about that kind of, but it's not really part of this series. I want to talk about like how I got myself out of a little mini depression. And I say little mini not because it was little mini, but that makes me feel better about myself, so that's what I'm gonna say. I effectively, because I was reading for many hours, haven't touched my journal, which is okay. I have 2 days to back film in today. I don't know if I'm gonna get it all done today, but I'm pretty happy about it. I will say I need to figure out a better way to set up this overhead shot because I really liked it, but unfortunately we did have a little screen protector incident, and so I'm attempting to protect my journal a little bit. But I do want to show you, I picked up this new habit, which was effectively to use these numbers, which how they're designed to be used. They're designed to be used however you want them to, but there's a section here where they have the hours of the day, and so I've been writing about like my tasks, and I think it puts a little bit less pressure on me to fill up the space, because I've been trying to work on not filling up all the space, and it seems silly. It feels silly to me to say like, oh, it's easier said than done, but it is. I feel like I need to fill up all the space. Like I need to complete it. I need to like feel that at the end of the day, which is fine because I picked a really bad time of day to do this. It's fine because I like feel that fulfillment, but I also in turn don't have all the time to fill up, so it seems like a really daunting task, which is why I choose not to get to it some days. Anyways, that's my little spiel on my journal. I'm going to continue backfilling, and I'll show you what I do at the end of today. I've also been reading Wuthering Heights, and I stopped. I took a little bit of a pause because I wanted to read Iron Flame, but I've really been enjoying it more than I thought I would. I think I have a general animosity in my heart for Jane Eyre because I had to read it in high school and I wasn't doing super well mentally. I feel like I'm not sitting centered. I do have my own copy, and I had to annotate it, and I kind of like didn't try as hard as I like wanted to, but I just, especially at that time in my life, really did not have the capacity to. Anyways, one of the things I want to do, hopefully this year or next, is to go back and read that. But I'm reading Wuthering Heights. I honestly prefer it, like vibes wise, but we'll have to see. I'm not there that far in. I'll probably finish it before I upload this video anyways, but I doubt that I'll get the chance to sit down and talk about my thoughts, so I'll probably do that next week. I also reinstated my reading journal. I did. So if you have been watching my videos since the beginning of this year, which probably like 10 people watching this video have, but I had a little reading journal where I wanted to talk about my reading thoughts, and I just didn't end up doing all of these things. I think a lot of it was like I would write a review on Goodreads and stuff, which I do less of now. I just write personally how I feel in a journal, which is funny because then I have a journal designated for that and I'm not using it for that. But also the page size is really small, and this was at a phase in my life where I was printing everything and it just takes so long, and I don't know, like, was happy with it. I feel like I'm like show and tell. I don't know, I decided that I think I'm gonna bring it back, and I'm not going to do things like write really full reviews in here. I think it's too small for me to use as a commonplace, just because of this, the size is fine, it's the thickness. I think it's so beautiful, but I don't know if anyone else has this thing. I have this thing where I need to write, like my hand needs to be flat on the table in order to write, and I don't know, I think that's just a symptom of the way I learned how to write. But I hate when my hand is like off the page, and because it's so small, my hand is effectively off the page the whole time. I can like take another book and like prop my hand up on it, but it's not realistic to have that with me all the time. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use this to write about like my little thoughts, just remarks on books, so I kind of have a place to consult in terms of what the book was about, I guess, or memorable things for me. So like in terms of commonplacing and quotes, I'll probably keep that in another place to consult. And for this, as I'm saying this, I'm pausing because I think it makes sense in my head, but as I'm saying it out loud, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But for me, organizationally, it makes sense. Just like to keep little notes of what the books are about, because I think over the past, especially year, I've been reading a lot more. And because of that, I have things from books that I didn't want to forget that I just don't remember anymore because of the information that I'm reading. And I actually watched a video about this today, and I think just generally been thinking about it in terms of destimulation and also in terms of like, I guess, overconsumption. It's a lot of like, human beings are not meant to have this much, we're not meant to see this much. And I don't mean see this much in terms of information, I mean in terms of like consumption and not availability of resources, but availability of, I don't know, I think book buying is a big thing now. And I think I'm not necessarily going to argue with that, because I think it's good that people are reading more. I think it's good that people have access to materials. And I read lots of books that are really good and lots of books that are really bad. Objectively, non-objectively, in my opinion and not my opinion. And that's fine. I think everyone has their things that work for them. I do think there can be a book for every person. It doesn't even necessarily have to be what someone would consider like a traditional book, I guess. It could be a graphic novel or an audiobook or something like that. But I think media in that form, number one, is less stimulating, which is kind of the entire concept of this series. But also I think is like good to, I don't know, it's a good way to consume things also because it opens your imagination up to things. And it kind of forces you to, I don't know, imagine how it would be in your own head. And I think that's what a lot of movies and TV shows, specifically adaptations, have taken away from me, I feel like. Not that movies or TV shows are a bad thing in any sense or form. I love my little TV shows, I love movies. I actually used to not like movies a lot, but I think it's a form of media that's so, like, it's so all-consuming, which I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm going against the whole destimulation concept, but I think that they have their own value in terms of making you feel something and like really exposing you to like a true vision. So I think that's really wonderful. But I don't know, I can talk about books all day long. I think they're like one of my favorite things. I don't know, I've been talking for too long and I'm listening to my own voice in my ears, which is again something without hearing someone else is a lot for me. I just scooted back a little bit because, again, staring at my face is odd. But I was thinking about this yesterday and I didn't get a chance to sit down in front of the camera because I was busy yesterday and then felt really overstimulated and came home and really had to like dysregulate. I don't know what you call it. I think as a personal note in my head, I am like taking some time to, I've been just like working through some things, and I think part of that has been me realizing that
I do need to destimulate a little bit more than the average person in order to exist in society. So yesterday was kind of an exercise in learning how to do that. And so I just didn't end up filming anything at all, except for that portion where I finished my book. And I also read my book for, besides the sleeping and eating part, for like 36 hours straight, and so it was kind of a lot. I finished reading the book, and because I am still a child of the internet, contemplated for a little while and then went to Goodreads because I was curious to see what people had to say, because I heard that people really disliked this book. Did I mention I was talking about Iron Flame? I can't remember. I don't know, I finished it and I was like, I didn't really hate this as much as I thought I would, I think, from people's reviews. I think a lot of people say it's a decrease in quality, and I don't know, because maybe, I don't know, I think, in my opinion, the book wasn't objectively high quality, or what you would consider like a super well-written, life-changing book in that sense. Like, I don't think that's the purpose. I don't think it's meant to be something groundbreaking. Just like I think a lot of music that I listen to isn't necessarily groundbreaking, and this is the point that I want to make, which is that I think the concept that media isn't good because it's not super groundbreaking or objectively super interesting from an intellectual standpoint is, I think, generally harmful to a specific demographic, and in this case I'm talking about the demographic that these books are targeted to, which is probably my demographic, like not middle-aged, like younger, I guess, to middle-aged, like girls. And so I think, not that I'm making a huge generalization, but that's kind of the concept. And I think everyone and their mom is talking about this, okay? But I don't know, I think want to mention the fact that I think this extends a lot further than just like being a fangirl and music and books and stuff like that. And I think the point that I'm making is less a feminist point and more a point that to say things that are not intellectually interesting or objectively bad is harmful to specific groups of people, but also almost speaks to, I don't know, I think it diminishes the enjoyability of specific things. Like, I think that I listen to a lot of music that's very good, and I also listen to a lot of music that I really enjoy, but I know it's not interesting. Like, it's not a new melody, it's not new lyric, it's not saying the most magical thing on planet Earth. And I kind of feel the same way about this book series. It's almost something that I feel guilty for enjoying. And I don't feel guilty for enjoying it because of the, like, girl aspect of it. I think from an intellectual standpoint, I feel that if I prefer this to things that are intellectually interesting, like, say, reading, okay, my first instinct was to say Pride and Prejudice because it's my favorite book of all time, as probably many people feel, but, like, if I read Macbeth and I prefer reading Fourth Wing to Macbeth, or actually, like, does that make me a less intelligent person? I don't know, I've been talking about this for too long, but I think I want to ruminate on it and journal about it a little bit, because I think it's that concept that makes me feel intellectually inferior. And I think it's like I almost said socialism. It's definitely not a socialist point, but a social commentary. But I wanted to mention a little bit because I was thinking about it. So if you have thoughts, comment about it, because I want to talk to you about it. But I just wanted to comment on it a little bit because I thought it was really interesting. And I was kind of overthinking it in the car. I was like, wow, that's a really interesting concept. But I think it applies to a lot of things in my life, because I think I like a lot of things, and I kind of have that type of personality where I tend to fixate on things. And I guess I kind of worried that I fixate on the wrong things, and that makes me less of an interesting person. I don't know, I think I feel intellectually inferior a lot too. So I'm sure I'm not alone in that feeling though. So we're doing great. Anyways, I think I might come on and comment a little bit more right now, but my brain is a little frazzled, so I will get back to you when I'm a little more functional. Also, I did my hair differently today. See, again, I feel like when I take a step back and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at my hair, look at my outfit, look at me going to this concert, look at me screaming and jumping around with my friends, I feel like that makes me a less, I don't know, composed
or professional person, which I guess maybe is true, but I just feel a lot of inferiority when it comes to that. But I've also been working on self-love, and I do really like my hair today. I don't know, I feel a bit like a princess, so that's that. And anyways, I'm gonna let you go now and stop talking, but